I just feel so good about this scripture right now. It just feels like Ashtavakra is speaking. It just feels like these words are carrying so much strength. And we've been at it for a few weeks now. Even the retreat was, I spent quite a bit of time on it. So I'm wondering whether this, what is being shared now, can be helpful for those who might read it in the written form as well. And the transcripts, of course, are also very nice. But sometimes in a book form, maybe it needs some editing, some more clarification, some things which can be conveyed with tone of voice, you see, but in the words might not come across in a similar way. And there could be some confusion, like Krishna also sent me some questions on verse 3. So let's dive in and see what happens. And I requested that all of you joining in the Hangout also read a bit of it. And I'm sure you read some of it as well. And if any questions come or some insights come, we're happy to look at those together. So I feel to read the authors. We're using this Bart Marshall's translation. I feel once more. The Ashtavakra Gita is an ancient spiritual document of great purity and power. Relentlessly one-pointed. It is relentlessly one-pointed. Commenting on the introduction also a bit. Yeah. So this relentless one-pointedness can also be very frustrating sometimes. And I can spot it also in Satsang with some of you. Maybe I can also spot it in the Sangha and those who have been with me for longer periods of time, where it can feel like, and some have even told me like this, but not in such blunt words, but have said, you're just like a one-trick pony. All that you keep pointing to is the absolute awareness. But what about this? What about this? So I feel like what flows from here just has been so also relentlessly one-pointed. I don't see it like that. For me, it comes very naturally to seemingly skip over everything else and just say, but who are you in reality? Yeah. So it can seem, but this is just a complete ignoring of my worldly issues or my worldly problems or where I am at the moment, what is happening with me at this point of time. It can seem like I have no interest in that, and mostly because I have no interest in that, to be honest. But this lack of interest in that, hopefully in service to your truth. I have to have that integrity to be able to say that I really don't have too much interest in what might be happening in your personal story. So I will not fake false uh, interest or false compassion. Of course, sometimes some compassion can come, some feeling to help the world can come, some seva can come like that. But for me, my if you were to say that what is the best way to use me, I come to Satsang with Ananta for a few days. What is the best way to use me? Was to use me to see what you are in reality beyond the play of this, beyond the play of this personal up and downs and this fluctuating realm of movement. And and this can lead to uh, things where it can seem like, okay, we're building a personal relationship, we're building some special connection or something like this. But it, when many have found that, but it doesn't really have a grip in that way, they can feel like, but I've been coming to him for 2 years, I've been coming to him for 3 years, but there is nothing, there is no special connection over there, no special reciprocation over there. So that can be somewhat frustrating. And there can be also the sense that now, especially, more and more. I'm not saying to anyone, okay, you have progressed so much or you have progressed so much and giving you individual report cards. I'm saying more and more that all of you are that, which can also be frustrating because those who have been longer can feel like, but he's not telling me how much I'm progressing, what I'm getting to. So, so to see that this sense of progress, this sense of report card is also not being fed can also be frustrating because there can be this sense of what am I really doing here? Am I really getting anywhere? I was just reading something before I came in, and there was a sense of, at least on some other part, there's a sense of some karmas being cleaned up, some tendencies being washed away, and it's a difficult process, and I'm making progress in that. Here, we're not even saying that. Sometimes, rarely, yes, but we're not saying that because I really feel to point you to that which is the absolute. Am I saying that this is for everybody? No. Some of you are stuck with me. So, because your heart brings you here, but you're not really necessarily enjoying what is being shared. So in that way, we're just stuck together in that relationship. What does Guruji say? That snake and that mongoose. You come because something is there. Yeah, to be with him. It's irresistible to come or to click on the handout. But you find when you come, it's no, awareness, 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 awareness. Awareness now, awareness. Don't believe your thought. Don't. No. And still you find yourself here. Some will find that they're not here. They feel like, okay, that's all he's got. So, and that is fine. Because the idea of crowds, idea of bigger numbers is not attractive to me, at least at this point of time. I don't know in the future whether it will become more attractive to me or even less. So tomorrow it might be that I feel like I want to just be with one or two, and we take turns to come. Or it might feel like, okay, let's spread the word. I don't know how it turns out. I don't feel like I know any of these things. But at least what I can say when I look at what flows from here objectively is to see that something just feels like, let's go, let's go, let's go to that which is the ultimate reality. Let's go to that because I don't see why it cannot be possible for each and every one of us. So I didn't realize I'm going to comment on the introduction. Pure because it is relentlessly one-pointed. Every word is aimed at triggering self-realization. No suggestions for self-improvement, no rules for moral behavior, no practical wisdom for daily life. Powerful because the mere reading or repeated reading of it can be enough to send a right mind reeling into truth. This is one aspect that I'm currently contemplating, actually, to be honest. Because sometimes this sense of ripeness and the ripe mind getting this, that I never had, in the sense of never contemplated this topic that somebody could be more ripe, somebody could be less ripe. Because nobody can really tell at what stage anyone is at. So I've just trusted the voice to speak from here, whatever is coming for that one. I've trusted it to, hey, okay, intuitive presence will take care of it. So, but I'm also contemplating now whether it does, because I've seen that Advaitic ideas, just when they remain just as ideas, then they can be very, very strong ego defense. So it's a current contemplation and I'm looking forward to see where that goes. The handout is still with us. Little is known about the Ashtavakra Gita. Ashtavakra is the name that appears in Indian lore, but almost certainly he did not write it. I don't know what the source of this information is. The author, likely an anonymous sage, merely uses the characters of Ashtavakra and King Janaka to set up a classic dialogue between guru and disciple. That's a very beautiful tradition. All these Gitas sets up various situations, like Bhagavad Gita sets up the situation of the war, big, huge war, one of the biggest that has been imagined. And in the middle of that, the great warrior hero of the Mahabharata, Arjun, then talks to his charioteer, which is a metaphorical representation of the master, the guru, and says, "How can I, how can I attack all these attachments that I have? My brothers are here, you see, and you're asking me to get rid of all of them." So it's a beautiful setup for this beautiful Bhagavad Gita that happens. Then there's another scripture called the Yuga Vishisht, where the young Prince Ram, at the age of 16, then is so disillusioned with wealth, with temptation, with anything that this realm has to offer. And we read some of that in the retreat, and we were feeling, wow, this is really strong, really strong. So then the sage Vashisht comes to Ram and clarifies for him. Then it is the same Ram then has spoken on multiple occasions, including one time to another king called Vibhishan. So many of these uh, dialogues have been set up in these strong situations, maybe just to give some more color to the dialogue, to give some more representation to what that the questioner must be going through. So we're able to easily relate to what those things were. So he really uses the characters of Ashtavakra and King Janaka to set up the classical dialogue between guru and disciple. It quickly becomes a guru-guru dialogue. In this way, it is rare, Ashtavakra Gita. You see, because it quickly becomes a guru-guru dialogue. Because after the first salvo of wisdom from Ashtavakra, Janaka realizes his true self. That's about 20 verses in. The first chapter is about 20 verses of Ashtavakra sharing, and Janaka comes to the realization of what is being spoken. And from then on, they get into an Advaitic jam session of the highest sort. That's why I enjoy this translation, because it speaks in this contemporary way. I was joking to someone and saying, I'm happy with this one because it doesn't say, verily thou art the awareness. It says, you are awareness. So sometimes in the indirectness of language, we miss the message. You see, it is very clear that you are awareness. Because of this, some translators have done away with the dialogue format and attributed everything to Ashtavakra. Indeed, since all the verses of the Ashtavakra Gita exist at the highest possible level of spoken wisdom, it would appear meaningless to attribute some to the teacher and some to his newly enlightened disciple. There is nevertheless a storyline set up in the Ashtavakra Gita, and for me it goes something like this. Chapter 1. It all starts when King Janaka asks the sage Ashtavakra how he can attain knowledge, detachment, liberation. Ashtavakra tells him. Chapter 2. It works. Upon hearing Ashtavakra's words, Janaka realizes his true nature. Enraptured, he describes the joy and wonder of his new state. Chapter 3. Ashtavakra is delighted for Janaka but sees inconsistencies. He fires off a series of confrontational verses about attachment to worldly pleasure. So this is the test from the Guru, and the prevention of any sort of spiritual ego forming. Janaka asserts that the Lord of the universe can do as he pleases. Chapter 5. Ashtavakra does not disagree, but in a terse 4 verses points out to the next step, dissolution. Chapter 6. Janaka says, I know that already, matching him in style and number of verses. Chapter 7. Unable to leave it at that, however, Janaka goes on to further describe his enlightened state. Chapter 8. Still hearing too much I in Janaka's language, Ashtavakra instructs him in the subtleties of attachment and bondage. Chapter 9, Ashtavakra continues to describe the way of true detachment. Chapter 10, Ashtavakra hammers away at the folly of desire, no matter how elevated or subtle. Chapter 11, Ashtavakra further describes the state of desirelessness to which he points. Chapter 12, Janaka replies by describing the state of timeless stillness in which he now finds himself. Chapter 13, Janaka, having been instructed by Ashtavakra in chapter 1 to be happy, reports that he is indeed. Janaka then summarizes his exalted state with calm indifference. Impressed but not through teaching, Ashtavakra relentlessly points to the vast emptiness of self. And Ashtavakra attacks the futility of effort and knowing. Then Ashtavakra describes the nature of one finally, Ashtavakra hits him with everything he's got. 100 verses of pure non-duality. I wonder whether we'll ever get there. If this doesn't do it, nothing will. Chapter 19, it works. Janaka no longer describes his enlightened state, but can speak only in questions revealing absence. Chapter 20, in a final flurry of questions pointing only at their own meaningless, Janaka burns off the last vestiges of personhood and enters dissolution. He ends with, "No more can be said." Ashtavakra smiles, nods approvingly, and says, "No more." It's a beautiful introduction by Bart Marshall, August 2005. Also, I want to tell you all that I haven't read this. Weird is it? I wanted to say that I haven't read this for a long time. I remember many years ago, uh, there was a Ashtavakra session that I used to attend weekly. So since then, and also since we started reading it, I have not gone into the text beyond what we read together because I want whatever is to emerge fresh, just to see what comes up together instead of having any predetermined idea about what I will say, what verse means. And I feel like this has been very beautiful for me also because sometimes when I am reading, I feel like, oh, okay, what is he saying now? It doesn't seem like it's immediately clear. Then we'll look together, then we can say yes. So together we are enjoying the presence of this beautiful sage, Ashtavakra. So I bow down at the feet of my master, Sadguru Sri Mujiji, and also these two beautiful sages, Ashtavakra and Janaka, who have given us this beautiful text. And may this voice speak in resonance with what is the essence of what is being shared here. And it is my blessing that all of you will see this for yourself. And these words will not remain mere words, but take you beyond the words into what they are truly pointing at. Sadguru Sri Mujiji ki Jai.